Sometimes in life, by the way, thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel. My name is Paulina. Sometimes in life, there's situations where an ending is the beginning, and then we can look at it the other way, where a beginning is an ending. And there may be something that you're changing in your life, that you're using your thought. You're having an idea about something that could be beneficial to you. You're also using your, with the One of Swords, you're using your unique selfhood. You know, it's about one, taking a stand, changing things in your life with your own personal thoughts or ideas. You felt like things weren't growing. You felt like you weren't getting something that was what you wanted for a long time. Excuse me. It's the same card, so it's almost like double trouble I'm hearing. I think that this is like a weird reading because I filmed most of it beforehand, and now night has come and it's later in the day and I'm filming the intro, so it's kind of like a snake eating its tail, which is the Ouroboros, and relates to the reading. That sometimes things come into our lives and we have to just like follow the snake tail, and then once we get to the end, we're at the beginning again. You may find yourself in a situation like that right now. And just know that the more that you fight it, the more difficult it will be. And follow your inner guide to get to the other point where the snake mouth becomes where the end becomes the beginning, or the beginning becomes the end. It's kind of like in the Bible it says, I'm Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. That's what God says. So, in understanding those kinds of situations where there's ends and beginnings, we can understand that there is no duality. As it says in Course in Miracles, there is only love. There is no death. And so equally, whenever there's a beginning, there's an ending. And that's really important for this reading. I wanted to start this reading with a theory by Niels Bohr. He believed that, and by the way, this theory was used to create the atomic bomb, but I'm using it for metaphorical purposes for your life. He believed that atoms they rotate in ring formations around each other, like they move in these ring sort of paths around each other, and sometimes if there's heat or pressure, one atom will jump to a higher point and the others have to sort of catch up over time, or sometimes it does go to a lower point, but it is called a quantum jump. And that's what this reading is sort of about, is a quantum jump. Hi everyone. Thank you. So there's things that you could reframe in your life. Like right now you may be in a position of feeling lack with the Empress reversed. Like you're like, I don't feel very abundant. I don't feel like I have wealth, or even just fertility maybe seeming out of reach. But the Empress reverse can also be like intense, like fertility, like the reversal could be fecundity, like you're just like ready to have something planted, and that could be childbirth, like coming up, or getting pregnant, conception, or it could just be a new creative project that is coming to fruition. I'm feeling like focusing on just creativity is important right now, the Empress reversed. And we got Eight of Cups, which is about leaving a situation, just being like, yeah, you can keep your cups and fuck yourself. I'm sorry, I don't mean to swear. But there may be a situation where you just felt like above it and you had to leave, and you needed some time and some space to discover your own feelings. And the Sondheim lyrics from Into the Woods, sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood, others may deceive you. You decide what's good, you decide alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now. Anyway, it just goes on. It's just a beautiful melody that's been in my head this week. I do a lot of hiking with my dog, so Into the Woods is something that comes to mind. I love Sondheim, and I don't know, there's just something about, it may be somebody that you felt deceived by, or somebody that's you feel abandoned by, someone who's like left you halfway through the woods, but you have to keep going on your own. There may be some predator here, because, you know, it's based, one of the fairy tales is Red Riding Hood, Little Red Riding Hood, who, she has this sort of she's running away from this wolf that's chasing her. I don't know if wolf medicine could be important to you right now. Wolf medicine is just like being resourceful. Yeah, I was reading about the Native Americans of Connecticut, just in general, and that that stone I found, it has sort of carvings on it. I think I showed it in our last long reading. It has some carvings that look sort of like it's hard to see in this lighting, but it looks like someone may have carved it to look like an animal, because there's like eyes and a snout, and then on the other side there's these marks that similarly denote that. And I was reading that a lot of times after going on a vision quest, they would, yes, like make their tools into whatever predator they had experienced an interaction with. A lot of times on these vision quests there would be some sort of interaction with a predator. And you may have had something like that, where you were like, you came face to face with something really scary, or like some fear, some like primal long-term fear, or just like maybe an actual, person who was trying to hurt you. And yeah, like they would make a carving, or some memento of that animal, then go forward being guided by it. If it usually on these vision quests they weren't eating or drinking, so that they could be in touch with the divine, or the gods and goddesses of nature, the spirit. Anyway, like that lends itself to being vulnerable, because then a predator might see you if you're hallucinating because you're hungry and you're sitting on some cliff. You're vulnerable to bears and wildcats and all sorts of animals, foxes, coyotes, and in the older times, wolves. At least there's no wolves in Connecticut apparently. Did you know that the last wolf was apparently killed in Connecticut in the late 1700s, maybe, by Israel Putnam in northeast Connecticut, in the woods there in Pomfret. There's a rock, Wolf Rock, I think, that commemorates it. You might want to do some time outside, spend some time outside, because I'm feeling that your energy could use just like a little vibration lift, and nature has a really low resistance. And just like smile. There's something that you felt like you were being chased, or like there was some dark cloud, some bad thing over you, and now I feel like you're out of the woods, you're out of that situation. Yeah. Let's get some more cards. I feel like there's an energy of a person that you're connected to here. That's why I paused it for a minute. I felt like another energy. There's somebody that you were maybe close with in the past, that you may be re-entering in their life. We got the Sun reversed, the Chariot, and the Chariot can be, I was reading doing a little extra research, even though I know the cards really well. I was reading it can be about like offense, or like, you know, someone sort of being like, hey, don't F with me, you know? You may have been in that energy lately where you're like, seriously, don't F with me. Seriously, like, don't fuck with me. And a little bit of offensive energy, like even like offensive, like you're playing a game. Maybe, you know, I used to play field hockey. Super fun. But some sort of like mindset where you have to be on the prowl or something like that. Oh, I was going to say about the Native Americans, sun reversed. You know, you don't see sun underground, obviously, and they would have these underground ceremonies made in like stone, like caves, or sometimes just like they would like dig tunnels or, you know, holes in the ground and put slabs of rock and then make a little house out of rock. So they had these underground ceremonies, and you can find these like cave type structures or underground structures all over Connecticut. Yeah, and it's just interesting, the idea that like the need to be underground to connect with the divine, to not be involved. You may need to do some isolation, like some sensory deprivation chamber stuff. I like to swim as a way to do that, because you can't listen to headphones, you can't hear anything, you can't really see that much, and just a way to like slow the mind down. Slowing the mind down, that feels like an important moment here. But there's someone that you're connected to, and anyway, you may have felt like you were underground, but you were put underground to see that you can make your own sunlight, and now you have been brought up to the light, I see. Because something happened when you were underground. You did some studying, you did some apprenticeship. You know, you sharpened your skills to be able to see more clearly in life. Yeah, and this other person that you're connected to, it feels like a positive relationship. Someone that sees the good things about you, and they see that you're someone who's really curious and excited, someone who has a lot of energy, and they like that. And there may be just like a positive connection that's like, you know, someone sort of cheering you on from the bleachers who may want to be more involved in your life in the future. And there's communication. There's swift communication with this person. Is what the Eight of Wands is about. Oh, let me just like tune into the energy. I have another piece of amethyst here. So it's just another chunk, including my necklace. Like, there's just, you're feeling more protected. You're feeling like more chilled out, and you're feeling like less on guard, and you're feeling a little anxiety as to like what you're gonna do, how you're gonna make your life better, because you're not at a point where you're satisfied. Trust me, we never are. But you particularly may be in like a stuck period. Yeah. Today's numerology is the number 4, so that relates to Uranus and sudden change, but also stability, oddly enough. So those may be some themes, like maybe similar to the atom example, they're jumping the loops. Like there may be a need to create homeostasis in your life, like something needs to be balanced out, and that maybe require sudden change. And this comes up a lot in my readings lately, seeing through illusions and fantasies. 7 of Cups reversed. Also, this can be just like choices, seeing that we have choices in life, because I feel like you may have felt like you didn't have choices, and you're focusing on these people that you feel abandoned by, maybe multiple people, and it may be like a really like negative wound right now for you. Sorry, I'm just putting that there because it's a little hard to see me with the light. Yeah, it feels like a negative wound. This person that you, or maybe multiple people that you almost like want their attention or approval or love, and they're not open to that right now. And I feel like there is one particular person who it's very painful with, and it has to do with they're not, you know, with the 6 of Pentacles reversed, they're not able to give to you. They're not, it's a one-sided relationship. It's a one-sided dynamic, and you're seeing that now. And yeah, you may have removed yourself from that, and then that may have necessitated doing some ceremony underground, in terms of figuratively being underground, maybe being isolated. But you're on your path. Spirit's telling me like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And I was thinking about somebody I knew today who passed on, my camp counselor, Emily. She was sort of a mentor to me when I was young, and she gave me Rainer Maria Rilke's Letter to a Young Poet when I was like maybe 14 or 13. Yeah, super interesting book. I recommend it, as the energy just feels like there's something here about being curious about the world, being curious about how to express yourself, maybe in writing or verbally. Queen of Swords. Yeah, the Queen of Swords can be about that. I feel like there's something about this person that in your life that you're connected to. They see you as sort of like a Queen of Swords figure. Like maybe they see you as that energy where you're kind of like a shot caller. You're like, you don't take shit from nobody. You don't take shit from anybody. If that makes sense. Page of Pentacles. There's something that is going to be offered to you that's going to change the dynamic here in your life. Sorry, we're just going to put this here for the sun. Ooh, that's better. There's something that's going to be offered to you, like a tangible thing. Maybe a job or money or a new situation that has to do with your abundance. It's going to be like the beginning of that. And then it's going to snowball. As you lean into more abundance, you'll create more and more. I was thinking about the Albert Einstein quote that like, it was like, we know what, I think it was like 98% of matter is, but the rest is like love or something. Just let your grid fill in, as Abraham Hicks would say. Your job is to stay positive, to stay in a good place. And with me mentioning this person that has their energy focused on you, that's a cheerleader, I think it's multiple people that maybe hold a torch for you, that see that you've struggled this year, that keeps coming back in my readings. This year, this past year of the horse. Remember, the year before was the year of the snake. So you shed a skin and you had transformation, is the snake. And maybe research, because it relates to Scorpio. Scorpio can be about research. And now in the horse, which relates to Sagittarius, which is the next sign after Scorpio, the horse is about sort of ownership of that wild nature, like taming our force and bringing it towards something we want. You have to follow your goal. When I listened to the channeling of the energy of my friend Emily, who passed on, I'm going to channel her energy and the Rainier Maria Rilke stuff. I was reading a quote that was like, just live in the question, basically. Like, from Rilke, it was like, don't so much search for the answer right now. Just live the question and the answer will come to you. So you're in a situation like that. You may have had times lately where you're like, oh, I have some important list in my head and I missed one important thing. And then time goes by, and as you release resistance, it pops into your head, right? Oh shit, I need to get toilet paper. Oh shit, I need to get dog food, or whatever it is. And that's what it's going to be like with what you're supposed to do. What your higher self is going to guide you. There is no supposed to. There's only what feels good and what feels better and what feels a little better. And I mentioned in the beginning a little bit of coaxing, or almost like taking care of plants, is like how you're talking to yourself. Like you're growing something, you're tending to something in yourself, like some wound that's being healed. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna turn my AC on and try to talk a little louder. I am gonna get a mic soon. Sorry, not that anyone watches this, but yeah, I just feel the energy. I'm seeing a seesaw. And I was talking about reality transurfing. He talks a lot about things being balanced out, like, and that there's sometimes excess energy. So just make sure that you're balanced in your energy, Like, don't sometimes we get frustrated in life, right? But try not to put negativity out in the world, because that's going to come back to you. There's also just the witch's law of 3, that what you put out comes back times 3. And sometimes there's momentum that we already have that it's a little bit hard to not be mad or sad or whatever, or to tell someone off if they've been violating our boundaries. But then we have to pull it back and look at, why am I letting people violate my boundaries? Why am I putting myself in situations? This takes a little bit of metacognition here, that you have to pull way back from your actions. And if, say, you're angry at somebody who like cuts you off in traffic in a dangerous way, well, out the word, say that anger existed inside of you, and this person is just a stimulus, like allowing you to feel that anger and let it out. So there may be just be a need here for like finding situations where you can feel your feelings in like safe forums. Like I've mentioned before, like rage rooms where you go and take a bat and just like go crazy. Just like, I think there's one in Hartford where you just like, they have like a bunch of like old machinery, and you just like go crazy with like, you put goggles on and hit things with a bat or a mallet. It's really, you know, it's just a good release. You can just also take a pillow and like just like take a bat and do it with a pillow or something, or a stick. There's just some charge here, like some intense energetic charge. You may try running or something like that too, or just like exercising where there's like you know, you're exerting a lot of energy and it's vigorous. The people that hold a torch for you, it's interesting that I thought of that. It made me think of specifically 6 Feet Under, and how I think, is her name Lisa? The wife, the girl that Nate marries, and you know, he's like the oldest son in 6 Feet Under. He marries her and has a kid with her, and then she disappears. She's like a hippie type, and she kind of like always held a torch for him. There's somebody like that in your life, where like they don't like care really if anything happens, but I mean, like, they don't want to restrict you in your life in terms of maybe being romantically involved, or maybe it's just like an intense friendship. I'm not seeing family so much, but this person, their energy that they hold a torch for you, it's like, not that you're gonna get married and then they'll disappear and have a kid, like, I'm just mentioning that, but that energy of that character where she's just like kind of a hippie living this commune, and she's like, what will be, que sera, sera. You know, she's like, she loves this guy, but she lets him go home to like California, and just like she doesn't chase him or anything, and then he just kind of comes back to her, and then she goes and lives with him after they've established more of a relationship. So I'm not saying that will happen, but I'm just saying there's something here about like letting go of what you want so that it can come to you. And I like to say to myself, I allow what I want, because a lot of times what we want is deeply held in the subconscious, and there's a lot of resistance to it. Yeah. I'm going to be posting some sign history videos soon, which are just like different signs and how they get along. So just saying that. And also, if you could follow me, it would be awesome, because I'm trying to get enough followers to, I think you have to get 500 or 1,000 to make a membership, and it would just help with my gas money and dog food and miscellaneous. So if you want to help with that, that would be awesome. Yay. I just feel like there's something about like laughter. You have to watch some comedy, or like something, equally how you need to let go of anger or release anger, discharge it. You have to let yourself laugh a little bit. And I mentioned in the beginning, seeing your situation as a little bit funny, but like, I'm just hearing funny bone. There's something, you know, the person I mentioned before, Emily, who passed away, she was my camp counselor. She was really funny, and she would tell stories about things that like were embarrassing to a big group, and they would all laugh because the way she told it was like so funny. It was like she was making fun of herself. She was like, okay, look, this ridiculous thing happened to me, I have to tell everyone. She was just kind of a ham, and she really loved the spotlight, but the spotlight loved her, and everyone loved her, and everyone loved her stories. And she also was just like an amazing leader. I don't know, like there's something here about leadership, about just laughing at your problems, because that's how you're gonna see the way out of your problems, and maybe see your way towards a new relationship, which I feel pending or coming. And it is a quantum jump. It is a jump for you to believe that something positive could happen, because I feel there's been some hardship. I was gonna say more back to the horse, year of the horse, like, take those reins and take control of your power. Horse, I also relate to the Paul at Damascus, or Saul becoming Paul. He falls off his horse and says, I see the light, I know that Christ exists. Sorry, that's my imitation. But like, not that you're necessarily going to become a Christian or a Catholic or something, but like, maybe you're just seeing things a little differently now. Maybe you've been like kicked by the horse and you're seeing a little, oh shit, I'm so lucky. Oh shit, life is not that bad. Or maybe you've shifted your focus from money, because that may be a big stressor. Snake can be about money, I relate to, because Scorpio can be about money. Sagittarius, which would be horse, what we're in right now. Again, I'm mixing genres because this is Chinese astrology, the year of the horse. It's like Sagittarius gets their money by luck and by salesmanship and travel and knowledge. So those may be things that this year that are like coming up for you. Themes. I was thinking about Virgo placements today, and I was also thinking about the polarity of Virgo and Pisces. So those are just maybe themes. Something about, like, I meant balancing the spiritual and practical service. So you may think sometimes I can only offer my thought or my intellect, but sometimes what's needed is your healing presence, your love, your openness to something good happening, which is Jupiter and Neptune, your ability to create and to envision and allow. And sometimes you may think that conversely, you may think that your Pisces stuff is needed. You can look in the chart, everyone has Pisces and Virgo on the chart somewhere. You may think the Pisces energy is needed, where you're like, maybe I'll just be a little passive and not know what's going on, and you're being called to actually speak up, which is Virgo. So it's about the balance. Yeah, something about just relaxing. I really recommend some guided meditation and hypnosis, because you need to spend more time just with your brain turned off, because it's almost like a reset. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot of I'm seeing some sort of travel coming up, actually. Some trip that's going to change your energy field, because you're going to see not only your good fortune, but the good fortune of just life, that life is so abundant. I was going to say before, you may be shifting your focus from obsessively worrying about money to enjoying things. Like, what are your goals? That if you focus on your goals, you'll be led to money. And if you focus on what you are interested in and what you enjoy, money becomes like a non sequitur, because it's like, oh great, there's money there now, but you may need to learn to live without money right now. I'm just getting something about the viewer who, there may be just like with the snake and horse, that can be like, the number 8 is finance relating to the 8th house, and then Jupiter would be the 9th house, but that can be about windfalls. There's just something about balancing out your money here, since I was talking about balancing energies. There's something about, like, and this is a balance card, this is about juggling financial or material things. It's not just the material though. It does relate to your energy field. Like, you have to balance your body and your mind to walk into more abundance. And that may just take some time. It may just take some patience, like you would be patient with a plant that you're bringing back to life, or with a little kid that's trying to walk. Abraham Hicks gives the example. You don't say, get up, you little dummy, you're an idiot. You say, okay, little kid, good job. You walk 2 steps. It is a big deal. I'm sorry, I keep restarting because my phone is out of battery, but yeah, just a little bit of patience is required here, because it's like your body is telling you what to do and leading you and guiding you towards a better situation in your life. And there's just something here about, like, trusting that there's forces guiding you, like there's unseen forces helping you, spirit guides, energies. I'm just thinking about the book by Eckhart Tolle, be here now. It's a basic, older book, but it really is life-changing. It's whatever you're going through, you need to embody what is right now and enjoy and appreciate what is right now, which shifts your perspective so that more good things can come to you. Page of Cups. As I said before, there is someone who's sort of thinking about you and sending you positive energy and love, and maybe has a romantic inkling towards you, and they hold a torch for you. And as time goes on, you may be drawn to this person because you're raising your energy fields. And I think if you look back at a photo of yourself from a year from now, or a video, you may notice your mannerisms have changed, your energy has changed, your field has changed, your vibration has risen. Some people say as we age, our vibration gets higher and higher, and that may be true. Also, what's true is that in our lives, we can dip in and out of different, like, states. Like, we may have old stuff that we've buried for a long time that comes up later in life that we then have to deal with. Like, maybe there's some repressed memory here with someone watching, which is a thing, because what it really is that you have a new experience in this present time that makes you see something that happened in a different way. You look back and you say, oh, that's what that was. Oh, that was a big thing, and I discounted that. I didn't think of it, for so long, or I brushed it off. A lot of times with abuse or just even SA, or just like negative things, we are like, we don't contextualize it in our brains because we're young, usually, or even if you're not young, but it's hard sometimes for the brain to understand trauma, and then it gets sort of like filed away, and then it's hard to understand until something spikes that, like, those feelings, and then we have like a break, a schism, and we have to almost see how we've been categorizing things in our lives from a once removed perspective. So I'm asking you a little bit to look at yourself from above, which I think I've talked about before. It is a meditative technique. It's called proprioception, what really is happening. But it's like, I want you to meditate and then just detach from your body. And then what will happen is you'll feel, where is my body? I need to locate my body. And you will, in your mind's eye, see your body. I think it's astral projection, but it's also called proprioception, that your mind is just creating an image of your body because you're anxious, because you're like, where am I? So that is great. And if you could do that, you might feel pins and needles, but you can also do some restorative yoga to get to this state, but definitely Savasana should get you there, which is dead man's pose, lying flat on the ground with your arms at your sides and your legs just flat, and some deep breathing and just detaching, maybe envisioning a lotus flower as you breathe, because I feel like that is a really beautiful image for you right now. Something beautiful and lovely coming from darkness or pain, which is something that we can all relate to in humanity, just as humans. That's sort of the human process. The word process feels important here. You're going through a process. But when you do that, I want you to see yourself and look at that person. And I've talked about this before, and have compassion for that person. Kristen Neff is a great researcher in compassion. I think she teaches at UT, maybe, or somewhere down south. And she's a PhD, and she focused on self-compassion. Anyway, there's an amazing video. Actually, it's called Horseboy, which relates to our reading. It's about her. It's a movie about her and her son and her husband going to China to get spiritually healed by a shaman, which involves horses a lot, and letting go and trusting the horse, and also trusting your body to know the horse's rhythms. And it's really beautiful. I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry, but maybe I'll cry a little. There's just something really nice happening here, where it's like you're with the horse energy. I do ride horses. I grew up riding horses and stuff. I love horses. There's something really beautiful about like just freedom and letting go. And I was in the sauna the other day, and this girl, I started laughing because I thought it was something funny, which relates to our reading, because you're seeing things a little bit more funny than sad, more funny than tragic. And this girl noticed, and I said, oh, it's better that I'm not crying. Sorry, I thought it was something funny. And she said, just let go. And I just love that. And I just think about that sometimes lately when I'm feeling tense or stressed. I think, just let go. And that means just let yourself feel, let yourself be, let yourself, don't be so tense. you know, when that woman, Kristen Neff, the documentary, she and her husband take the son who has severe autism, and he can't go to the bathroom with, you know, he can't plan the bathroom. He has no like control. So it's a huge problem for them. So they go there to this Chinese shaman to be healed, and yeah, they give him some herbs and some different meats and stuff, and they do some healing ceremonies, like ritual, which came up in our reading. There may be some ritual that you do, which even just, I'm thinking of going to a river and maybe like having, you could take a stone and wrap around it, and each time you wrap with a string or a twine, you can think of, this is just like some witchcraft that I'm sort of freebasing, because off of the witchcraft that I've read about, or I'm freebasing, that's not the right word. I'm freestyling, making it up, but it's similar or reminiscent of a lot of ceremonies that I've read about in witchcraft books that I have. It's like each time you wrap it around the stone, this string or twine, you can think of something that you're worried about, that sucks, that you're scared or you're worried. And then at the end, when it's all wrapped, you're going to, you can set an intention, like I want peace or I want joy, or you can just say I let go and throw it into the river and watch your worries be taken away.